Inside the heroes' headquarters, Storm headed for the command center. Its nearly hemispherical dome would allow her to better observe the Tempest's fury. On camera, debris from their fight with the villains roiled in the floodwaters washing down from the crest of hills where the battle had occurred. Reed, Ben, and Johnny watched the floodwaters tearing through the valley. Some of the building's lower levels were well underwater, but the structure's integrity was holding up so far.
These unknown alien dudes sure know how to build giant headquarters. Gotta give them credit.
Yeah, next thing you know, it'll turn itself into an arc and we can just float back to her.
They turned to see Storm coming in, and she nodded. She was not particularly close to any of the three, but she valued them as allies.
I came in to get a look at the weather. I could have opened an exterior door, but I didn't wish to inflict it on anyone else.
Well, manners. Not quite as dead as we were led to believe.
Thank you for saying so, Ben. You're...
Yep, flesh and blood. Don't know how it happened. Also, don't know if I'll be any good in a fight now. Funny how when you get what you want, it isn't always what you want.
Perhaps that is a lesson of Battleworld. Maybe another lesson of Battleworld is you can't count on your friends to come through when you're under attack.
Is that an accusation, Johnny? Magneto was in and out of this base practically before we knew of his presence. We were gathered in a distant wing. But if you have already decided to ascribe a certain motivation to our actions, that explanation will not satisfy you.
No, I'll take your word for it. I can't speak for everyone.
Nor would I ask you to. Your candor is appreciated, as is your trust.
She returned to observing the weather and glanced occasionally at the video image of Galactus, who still stood on his mountain peak. The storm did not move him or appear to interest him. Storm would have given a great deal of money to know what he was doing. She would have given even more to eliminate the mistrust that was already tainting the relationships among the displaced heroes.
Uh-oh. Manners may not be dead, but we might.
Storm checked the monitor to see what he was talking about. Far above them, the storm had sheared off the top of a mountain, either along an ancient fissure, or because the mountain had been weakened by being slammed into this new planet along with dozens or hundreds of other mountain ranges from different worlds. The broken piece was larger than the HQ. It tumbled against the mountain's flank, slid, then turned over and bounced free.
It's heading right for us. We don't stand a chance.
If I can get outside!
Storm instinctively sprinted for the nearest exit, but she wouldn't be able to get there in time. She stopped in her tracks as something streaked into view on the monitor. Like lightning, but moving in the wrong direction, at an angle up from the ground. It hit the immense mass of rock and blew it apart.
Holy!
Some larger boulders broke through, leaving dents and damaged machinery, but nothing like the devastation the intact mountaintop would have caused.
Who did that?
Storm glanced at Reed. He was looking at her with a half smile.
It doesn't take a scientist to figure this out, does it, Reed?
If I extrapolate from the available data, Aurora, which is that you are here in front of us, then there is really only one other possibility.
Let me go see if we are correct.
A cylindrical structure set at the back end of the HQ against the slope of another mountain towered 100 meters or more over the main dome and outlying structures. Storm lifted herself to it, riding the wild currents and the ever-present tingle of lightning about to birth itself. Standing atop the tower, arm raised and hair whipping, was exactly who she had expected. Thor. His hammer arced down out of the sky into his palm as she landed on the tower's observation platform next to him.
A fine evening for the likes of us. Not so the poor souls trapped inside.
True! And you seem to be making a sport of it.
Sport! You read my mind, Aurora Monroe. You see, I have been competing against myself to see how many rocks I can knock from the sky. It's not a good contest with only one player. But you will be a fine challenger.
I don't have a hammer!
Surely one such as you needs no such tool. You were born with the powers of weather at your command. Forgive a god for his simpler toys.
All right, we'll call that even. Let's see what you've got.
The violence of the storm, even apart from the lightning, would have been fatal to most people within minutes. But the Thunder God and Mistress of the Elements had their own ways of handling the extreme meteorological event. Lightning blasted down around Thor. Storm flew high above the tower rooftop and hovered. Driving rain had already flooded the valley surrounding their headquarters. As the lightning crashed around her, she exulted in it. This weather surged through her like nothing she had ever felt on Earth. Her blood was lightning, her heart beat thunder. This was what she always imagined when a storm on Earth had passed. It was grander, epic in scale and violence.
Storm!
Aurora felt like she had been meant to come here. Even if she were not meant to stay, this was a small part of her destiny.
Storm!
She was so swept up in the experience that she hadn't even heard Thor.
Aurora!
When she finally did look over, he held up 3 fingers.
Already?
You have some catching up to do!
Game on!
Storm channeled the lightning down to destroy a steep slope and control its collapse. It tumbled away into the valley floor rather than burying part of the HQ. She carved a new channel with the waters, directing them away from the vulnerable lower levels. But mostly, she blew rocks out of the sky, as did Thor. The storm loosened and broke off the surrounding mountains. She and Thor stayed even, more or less. She was right that Mjolnir gave him striking power she did not possess. He was right that she could use wind and temperature and rain to achieve less spectacular, but equally vital effects. It was the best game she had ever played, matching strike for strike with the God of Thunder. And then it was over.
Aurora, we must consult immediately.
Aurora faltered. She had a feeling she knew what Xavier was going to say, but she had to go. Being part of the X-Men meant answering the call, even when you knew it was going to be bad news.
I concede, Thor! I am needed elsewhere!
Hide the inside then!
Thor's teeth were bared in a gleeful snarl, like he was throwing Mjolnir at frost giants instead of flying boulders.
I swear on Gungnir itself that I will not mock you when next we meet. And though I may strike 1,000 mountains from the sky when you've gone, I will count none of them against you.